Welcome to this week's episode of MarTech Unravelled. We have a very interesting and special guest today. Her name is Nyandia Gachago, and I'm very excited to have her on. And I'll let her introduce herself. Welcome.
Yay. Cue the clapping, the music, the DJ thing. My name is Nyandia Gachago. I'm a chartered marketer, a human, a mom, a partner. I'm a leader. I'm a co-founder to an AI creative agency called Minty Lime. I believe in leading from all sides, so I lead from the back, from the side, and from the front. Yes, I think that's a good way to sum up what I do.
Excellent. Thank you so much and welcome.
Thank you. Very excited.
So today's topic is AI, the game changer for brands. Mm-hmm. So first things first. AI can sound a little bit 2065 to some people. But what exactly do you mean when you refer to AI in the context of the work that you do?
So AI is fun. The context that guys are finding a little bit complex is when now you start thinking of robots and flying cars and all these fun things, which are still bits and pieces of AI and robotics. But what I use with AI is the facet of everyday life and what tools we're incorporating to make our lives better and make us more efficient in the work that we do. So any tool, even when you go to Google and search something and the first answer is AI-based, whether it's from Gemini or you're using your GPT tool to search or DeepSeek, or you're generating images through Canva AI, or you're doing presentations on Gamma. So that is essentially AI for me. It's just here to make sure we're a bit more optimized as working humans, so to say. Yeah.
Okay. That doesn't sound too scary.
No. It's fun. It optimizes you. So the task that you take, like for example, for me, because I'm in marketing, so you'd find when a client comes to me and they want to do a strategy, we know how insane and how long strategies can take. Before you do your competitor research, local competitor, international competitors, your SWOT, everything. So that would take sometimes 2 months. And that's like a good, if it's a much larger organization, it can take even longer.
Yeah.
So you're doing that in like hours and it's very factual. And you also go back and fact check, of course, just to be smarter. So for me, it's how much it's enabling us to be efficient. And yeah, for me, it's really like life-saving.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've been creating some great educational content on the socials. And I love the way you write. Your tone is so, catchy and, thumb-stopping. And you recently posted about why businesses should absolutely ignore AI, of course, at their own peril.
Yeah.
So just walk us through what exactly did you mean in this post?
So I'm trying out this new way of writing. We're in an era where we're saturated with content. We're in an era of performative content creation. And I'm trying to step away from that cult of content. So a big way of how I communicate is storytelling. So you'll notice this. Even today, for example, what I was posting on LinkedIn speaking about the betting crisis, I've still outlined it in storytelling prose just to try and make it relatable to where everybody's like, okay, we get it. Now I get it. I can see myself or I can see my family in this. So for me, it's a new thing that we decided to try where we're cheeky and sarcastic.
Yeah.
Those who get it, get it. I always get like the first 2-3 comments of people who don't get it. And then they come and self-promote under that post. And then they're like, don't be like these ones. Come to us. That was so insane for me. That was really funny.
Yeah.
Because that happened to me on LinkedIn. But for me, it's just an explanation of how if you don't use AI, you might become irrelevant because AI is in everything. Guys may not have known this, but AI was in medicine for so long. You've seen those robots that do surgeries or the ones that help doctors in precision cutting and even stitching and things like that. So it's been there for long. It's just that now it's so easy to access, even for the most menial of tools. I create schedules for my kids using AI. I create house menus using AI.
Oh, wow.
I will feed in all the green types that I find at zucchini, be like managu, spinach, nini, and then it will just derive all the starches that are available. I can even link the Carrefour app in it, and then it will see what Kenyans eat, what is in the supermarket, sort of types of ungas, types of breads, and then it will create for me something that is really cool. And then if you're smart, if you can afford those smart fridges, it reconnects to a smart fridge that then tells you everything that's in your fridge. And based on what GPT has given you, everything that you can make from what your fridge can see through its camera. Like it's just so efficient. Technically, these are things that it would take so long to think about. Like I don't like that. Like I used to get so tired with tutakula nini. I find that so stressful when my nanny asks me that. I'm like, oh my God. So let's just create this thing bio. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks for kids, holidays, nini, all these things. And I find that very good. So truly, I think if you do not at some point come into contact with active use of AI, you will become irrelevant and you will not be as consistent and as good as guys who are using AI.
That's true. I think a lot of people, there's a lot of talk, will AI replace jobs? Will I, lose a job and so on? And so there's this, notion or that if you don't use AI, yes, you can be irrelevant. But people using AI are the ones who are going to thrive and who are going to get ahead.
Yeah, that's true. I do believe that it's not per se AI that will take your job. First of all, AI has created so many jobs. I can't remember the exact number, but it was so many. It's created a whole AI economy. So it's expanded the confluence of which we can access jobs and all these prompt engineering LLMs. You can develop your own LLM. I've seen guys who are training AI in Kikuyu, in Kamba, in Maasai, just so that you can localize it a bit more, especially for marketing campaigns and whatnot. So if anything, it's created more jobs. However, it is true. You cannot compare a marketer who uses AI, the speed at which they're able to push out better, more refined ideas as opposed to someone who doesn't. I don't per se rely on AI for ideas, but I like relying on it to perfect my ideas because this creative thing we have as marketers is just yours. You have it or you don't. But then when it comes to now the precision of it, of how you're going to target a specific audience at a specific place, in a specific language, at a specific time, use tools. It makes it that much better.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm hearing, things like efficiency coming through, precision in terms of refining your thinking. What else can businesses, benefit from using AI? There are quite a few things you had mentioned in that post.
Yeah. So for me, I think the biggest one that I've seen, especially with bigger brands, even smaller brands that are struggling to maybe do a bit of marketing, sales, branding, comms, the whole package that we do, is you're finding they don't have data. But then a lot of bigger organizations are more open to sharing their data. So they're uploading their data on these apps, especially if you use the deep research tools on GPT, on DeepSeek, Grok, anything. They all have these deep research parts, which take longer to load, but are so juicy. The details and the sources they've cited and all that. So what you're finding is that if oh my gosh, I've lost my train of thought.
That's okay. We're talking about DeepSeek and deep research and data.
Yes. So that way, you're getting access to data that you previously couldn't have gotten. Kitambo, people used to buy data. So if you want like a specific report, you had to go to these organizations that do research. Yes. So you had to go buy that data. But now you have guys like Kantar. I'm trying to remember these Kenyan ones because Kantar is international and based in South Africa, but they really do a lot of good marketing research on individual countries. But you also have local, like Real Analytics. Yes, that's the name I was looking for, Real Analytics. So you're finding they're ready to share this data. So these companies, upcoming, old ones, anything, you have no data about your target audiences, ages, their spending capacities, who is the main spender in that family, down to sometimes the types of phone they're using. You know, the way we divide into LSMs and whatnot. So this data you're finding readily available. And then to top it off, it will tell you how to target those people, how to clusterize them, how to classify them, how to target. Because you might be selling the same product to all of this, which, like bread, for example, everybody eats bread. But then you might find there's a different metric of advertising when you're advertising, say, to a younger person as opposed to an older person. So the older person is more health conscious, the younger person wants energy, it's hype, it's trendy. So you're finding this data is readily available. So you're able to customize your marketing and do it very quick. And you're targeting when it comes to advertising.
Okay. So it sounds, the benefits are vast.
Yeah.
For sure. But then maybe there's someone asking like, okay, what do you need to actually get the best out of these platforms? You briefly mentioned prompt engineering.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big term.
Yeah.
But the prompt is the essence of getting the best out of these
Output,
platforms. So what makes up a good prompt? How do you create a good prompt? How do you learn to create a good prompt?
So I think AI is one of those things where you just have to start for you to learn, and then you ask as many questions. An easier way that I've found guys who don't want to go now into tools that actually create prompts for you, what I've found is that they'll ask the tool to ask you questions. So you'll tell it something like, I want to create a marketing strategy for Sema Box, but I don't know where to start. Ask me all the questions needed for me to. Then it will ask you. Then that in itself will enable it to think and to give you a foundation of all this. However, you can go to a free tool like Prompt Genie, where you just put a sentence, I need to create a marketing outline for Sema Box who does this, period. And then it will give you a very detailed prompt that will give you outputs that are so key. Yeah.
Okay. So this is seeming a bit more reachable and accessible.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So as a business owner yourself, you've mentioned ways that you use AI on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
However, it's 1 p.m. right now in Nairobi, Kenya. How have you used AI so far this morning?
Oh my gosh. So I had reports. So I use GPT to clusterize and classify my reports. It derives the data. And then right now, because it has the image generation and some form of video generation, then it's making that data easy to interpret for stakeholders. So for me, at any given point, I have about 10 to 20 tools minimum running. So I have Napkin that gives me flowcharts, that gives me, if I give it data, it gives me an infographic and gives me so many variations. I choose what I feel works with whatever brand it is. Of course, I use GPT, DeepSeek on a daily. As long as you Google, at any point, you're going to interact with Gemini because it's your first question that comes up. I use Canva a lot. I use Gamma a lot. I use, in UI UX, I use Runway ML for videos when I want to produce AI videos. And I just put an image. I tell it to create something like this. Today, let me show you something I was doing, which is so funny. So I have one of the brands I manage, and we were trying to see the fun things that we can do with cameras. It's one of the biggest security brands in Africa. So we were trying to see different concepts of what we can create for fun. So today I was trying out CGI and what I can do with CGI. So first I create the CGI image, then I run it on Runway, and then it creates the video for me. So that is literally what I was doing on the drive here, is I was creating CGI images with different cameras in different landmarks of different cities.
Right.
So I've done Paris. So we're currently working on the Nairobi one. We want to do the GTC one and the Pembe things in Mombasa. Yeah, so for me at any given point, I am heavily into at least 10 tools. So a presentation tool, a flowchart tool, an infographic tool, a content creation tool, a scheduling tool like Metricool, a content creation tool, same like Metricool or Jasper AI. Then of course Canva, then GPT, DeepSeek, and then I like Grok a lot. Grok is sort of almost better than many of the AI platforms out here. It's really well detailed. I don't know if it's because it's on Twitter or something, but I find that very interesting, yes. So at any given point, striving to get better. So you can imagine if you saw this on a billboard.
Very eye-catching.
It is so insane. And then if I make the video to where this becomes an eye that is moving to scan the city, and then I place these ads in digital billboards everywhere. Like I place one in Nairobi, one in Mombasa, one in every country that they're in. It's even just that. I don't need to sell anything. It's just fun.
It's fun. It's also localized.
It's punchy. It's cute. It's cute. It's because everybody's trying to get into CGI, but nobody's figuring it out because a lot of CGI artists are really expensive because these are 3D guys. 3D guys are, you can even ask Fat Boy, the guy who animates. He cannot be cheap because it's such an insane skill to have. So right now, the fact that we are getting that capacity through AI, and this was like a free GPT. It was not the paid one. I have the paid one for the organization, but this was the free one. So imagine what we can do.
Oh my goodness. Okay. This is really fun. So I just have this picture of your office
It's
Although it's just, I mean, everything runs on a PC.
It does.
But it does have this like futuristic.
We're tech.
view.
Yes, we're a tech. That's why I say we're not a marketing agency. We're an AI creative agency. We are we're not dependent, but we are very key to forecast marketing, forecast comms, forecast creatives. So even if you're not coming to us for marketing as a whole and you're just coming for ads or for creatives, then you get things like this that you still feel puts in the point that you want to put along, and it's creatively done. That I'm almost sure you will not get anywhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And how are clients, about, accepting of this whole thing?
Yeah.
Like, are they kind of thinking like, I'm paying you the same money and you're doing half the effort? Or, what is that conversation like? Are they excited about, the output you're getting? Like, what does that look like?
I think for me, the clients I have, and I don't know, I think it's because I'm in a point where we are able to sort of pick and choose the clients that we work with. I've always said my tagline is building impactful African brands. So for me, every brand, I don't just pick brands at random or brands who come and I just agree to it. For me, there's a way we need to make sure it aligns with the goal of the brand. So for me, everyone that I choose has come in because of either my personality that they've seen out there, my personality that they know, my co-founder, and so on and so forth. So for me, I find it, they're very excited about it because their work is produced quicker. So I think any client who gets their work done quicker and more efficient will be happy. They're getting better reports than what like your finance guy might send you a very rigid looking report. My reports are very colorful. It's so animated. So you're like, oh my gosh, it's just a dream. Like you don't need to go through data details. Like there's charts, there are animated charts, there are 3D charts, anything that you want for your data to make sense for you. So for me, they're very open to it and they really like it because of the speed at which we're able to produce work. Yeah.
Okay. And I would also hope that translates into effectiveness, return on investment as well.
It does. Because, first of all, it saves them money. There's a facet of AI and managing brands that saves money. Where I would need to shoot an ad, all I need to have is a photo of your product. I upload your product on various AI platforms. I'll have an ad, whether it's a video or anything ready. I can upload your product and I can upload a model. As long as, of course, it's a model that you've paid for and you've paid for the service. I can upload that and create all variations of ads through that. So that alone, as a brand, is saving you money. So because you don't need then to shoot the ads, you don't need to pay all these guys for production, Nini. So there's that facet, which I find everyone gets happy. Even myself, I get happy about the fact that I don't need to always micromanage or to even micromanage work. It's work that I know will be done and will be done effectively. As long as I've, quote unquote, trained my GPTs to work properly. Yeah.
Okay. So we've talked about, how you use AI as a mother in a family, having a family, as a businesswoman running a marketing agency, and how you service your brands. How about the small business?
Okay.
The small business who's running a shop, on Instagram or out on Moy Avenue. How can they use AI?
Okay. So I've seen there's a lot of brands that have come up in Kenya who are running various WhatsApp platforms. Small businesses, as long as you're selling products, I do think, not even just small, even big businesses, WhatsApp is really prime. It's really key for that. And guys are automating WhatsApp in various ways. There's an application called ManyChat that allows you, I think, 2 or 3 channels for free. And then you can automate, say, your Instagram DM, your Facebook DM, and your WhatsApp. So if you can automate that and then you give it the questions, you train the bot, just how you train the bot, question and answer, then that way you make sure all your facets are covered. Where a customer comes in, they won't lack something. I think that is where you start with that. And then also don't struggle with things that you should not be struggling with. So we know there is a need now for you to at least be on a social media platform. You don't need to be on all. But if you're, for example, product focused, you might want to be on those image focused channels like Instagram, maybe a TikTok here and there. Facebook doesn't hurt because it's the platform on which Instagram is. And ads if you want your meta ads to make sense, you have to do them from the ad platform, not from Instagram. So I think if you can get these free tools and then incorporate the WhatsApp platforms, whether you do it through Sukiba or anyone, I just say Sukiba because I just saw a billboard or something and it came top of mind. But then you go and search further and find tools like ManyChat, which will allow you to do at least 1,000 messages to test and see if it's for you. I think do it, because what I've found small businesses can lack and can be a very painful process to learn is slow communication. You ask, how much is this? 24 hours. Trust me, in that 24 hours, I've found like 3 other Dukas that have the exact same product.
Yeah.
If anything, I just need to take a screenshot, upload it on Google. It will bring me options of that. So if you can get a tool that will help you communicate quicker, best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. Because small businesses are already handling so much, you know.
Yes,
Usually
yes.
it's a maybe one man, one woman shop.
Yes,
and
most
they
of the
are,
time.
sourcing goods. They are trying to do the accounting, trying to do, the marketing.
Yeah.
So anything that, AI can help them take off their
Please
plate.
do it. Automate as much of your processes as you can. And if you're a small business who's gotten to a place where technology is a common facet, automate your processes. Learn Notion, Zapier, Make. This Make allows you to automate I don't know how many, 6 processes. So you can link your email to your Facebook to GPT. So your email comes in, it has, say, a client request. That client request goes into GPT. GPT gives an automated email to respond that is targeted and responds immediately. But at the same time, it sends a message to, say, your WhatsApp or to your factory to tell it that this thing needs production. Automate your processes. That way, you only need to come in at the original touch point and the final product part. So you're not too stretched thin, and then you're losing clients. And yeah, because that's often, like we've mentioned, the detriment of most SMEs. And we're a country of SMEs.
Absolutely. 7.4 million. SMEs.
Imagine that. Imagine that. And they all have the one common issue, which is communication.
Yeah. Okay. We've just talked about SMEs, and of course, the other challenge they have is stretched budgets.
Yes.
So we've talked a lot about so many different tools. Some are free, some are paid. Let's talk about the free versions.
Okay.
Because again, we have just stated the benefits of using AI, but is cost going to be the barrier that will stop them from adopting?
Okay.
And what are those tools that they can use right now?
Okay. So I think for one, WhatsApp Business is free. Like I've said, go to ManyChat, you'll get that WhatsApp tool that automates a bot for you for free. GPT, the free version, is good. It's still good. It's not the same in that the paid one sort of allows you to curate it way better and it's more targeted, and then you can cluster your clients, all that business. So GPT is still amazing. DeepSeek is free. It's borderline free. Even the open version, that is really insane. Use these tools that are free. Grok is free as long as I think even if you don't have a Twitter account, I've not tried it outside of Twitter, but it's free as well. It's not paid. If you go to social media management, tools like Metrical Buffer allows you 3 accounts for free, which you just create content using GPT. You create there's also a free version of Canva, yeah? And also if you're a student, you get Canva for free. Or if you're an NGO, you get Canva for free. They have those sort of CSR things that go on with organizations like that.
Yeah.
So you can create your content, create your posters or your videos on Canva, the free version. You can go and schedule it, like you can schedule a month of content on a tool like Metrical or Buffer, which allows you 3 accounts for free. And then still, Facebook is free, so ads you can always run, yeah? But then you allocate your small budgets and whatnot. A lot of these tools have trial versions. Try out the trial versions to see, first of all, if it even makes sense for you. Don't be pushed to do too much. Sometimes all you need is 3 tools. You don't need to do all these other things.
Or even one.
Yeah, like GPT now is really good. It's so efficient. It's pushing everything, contracts, Nini, and GPT in itself has GPTs that then are all these other 2 AI tools that are made custom for that. So there are many tools that are free without having to get to the paid version. It's just that now for us as agencies, because of the work that we push out and the needs of clients and things like that, you will need to get the paid versions of these tools because you need to push and churn more work and churn it quicker. Yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense. There's an element of, checking if something is AI generated.
Yes.
What do we do about that? Because, I think of, brands are cognizant. They want to make sure like, hey, is this an application from a human? Am I getting 100%, AI generated proposal?
Yeah.
So what does that look like and how do people
bypass?
Yeah.
And I've had that even with NGOs that they're not allowing proposals that are AI generated. Now, the problem is, first of all, this is going to come through or not. We're a country that was colonized by the British. So there's a way that we speak. And the way that we speak is how AIs have been trained to speak with that sort of prose and those specific sentences and terms. It's like the way Kikuyu dads will always greet you with otherwise. There's those general terms that are human and that are AI. You will write your own thing, handwrite here and sit and run it through AI and it will say 60% AI detected. Because there are facets there that are just language facets. And like I said, British English has been found to be the one that has all those like too hard terms, those too fancy terms and all those things that AI thinks should be for AI only, that it's the one that knows that proper quote unquote English. So I don't think there is any way that at any point you'll have a document that is kwanza sahi, that is not AI. They will still have, whether it's 10%, 20%, you'll still find something because in itself, the English is English. There's just that simple facet. But I think, like for me, how I do my best is just to use, like I use storytelling. Like I mentioned, that's one of the reasons why I use storytelling prose. But personalize it. Personalize even that AI content to where there are stories and bits of you in there that nobody else will have. Where they're like, okay, how else could it have known? This is, you get. Because even there are guys who run their projects on AI to check, like Grammarly is also, it also has Grammarly AI. Yeah. So will it also still just say, and yet it just went and did spell checking and rectified 1, 2, 3 things. It will still say it's AI. So there's just those things where you personalize as much as you can. So the story still remains yours. It's just that it might be sweeter and nicer and well formatted, but then the root is still you. Yeah.
Okay. So always add your own flavor.
Yes, spice it up. Whatever your spice is. If your spice is salt, that's it. If it's pepper, just put just enough to where everybody can be like, okay, this one is Nani. We can tell. It's like how Gabriel Oguda writes. Whether he fact checks or he's taught AI to talk like him or whatever, you still will find an article and you'll be like, that's Gabriel's writing. This is his. There's nobody else who talks about Medusa, my grandmother's cat. So there's just find your own isms. We call them isms, like Nyandia isms. So find your own ism that applies in that.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess that's where AI and human interaction really brings out the best of both worlds.
Yeah, true. And culture. I think culture is the one thing that AI has not yet grasped, especially African cultures, because we're and not just African, any country that is rooted, because you'll also find New Zealand have their own culture, whether it's Samoan or what. So you'll find people, or Maori, you'll find guys have culture that is so ingrained in their stories. Find a way to bring out your own culture where relevant. So that's the one thing that AI still has not.
Hasn't caught on to.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So the Kenya National AI Strategy was launched a few weeks ago.
Yes.
We've talked about how businesses can leverage AI tools to grow and drive efficiency. What opportunities do you see for businesses when it comes to building AI tools? And what local opportunities and nuances do you see that businesses can take advantage of to benefit not only as users? We've talked a lot about, businesses and people being users and consumers, but what about being creators of AI tools?
I've just remembered I did a post about this. So I actually want to open it up because we tore that document apart. First of all, everybody was saying it was done with AI.
It was what?
It was done with AI. And everybody was like, typical of the government. So because it was just talking about the general stuff, it didn't delve very deep. It didn't say the how, it didn't say the budget, it didn't say who was going to do it. It didn't answer the questions that everybody wanted answered. It also came out quite late. You'll find guys like Rwanda have been doing these AI forums for the past 3-4 years. So we are a little bit late to the AI run as an African country, especially for one of the countries in the world who have the fastest internet and the most woke generation who use all these apps. So where are these opportunities in this document? So these documents, while it had gaps, you can tell where the opportunities will come in. Creative agencies and tech partners. So who is going to actualize what they're speaking about? So therein comes in guys who are doing this. So AI literacy, storytelling, ethical deployment, especially for businesses and public institutions. Who is going to the Ministry of Nini, teach them AI, teach them which AI tool they're going to be using and how they'll implement it, so on and so forth. And then policy shapers and digital activists. So we need clarity on misinformation, right? Because you're finding even these things that are irritating the government that I don't think should be irritating them, how then do you curb that? How do you curb misinformation, algorithmic bias? Why do you allow AI when it asks for an African village to bring out hats? And meanwhile, this generation has probably never seen what a hat looks like in the village. They found normal houses, So you're still telling the 1906 stories about Africa when that is not it. You're allowing for that bias in how it's producing. If you Google thief, it was so bad at some point you could only Google like a murder or a thief, only black faces would come up. It's such horrible cultural bias. And it's up to governments and people to disallow this and to disallow these AI brands who are refusing it to be taught like this. And you've seen it in demonstrations, even when I'm trying to remember which brand. I don't know. I don't want to mention the big brand, but there's a brand that was launching the new version of AI, an international brand. And there was a demonstration by one of their employees. Well, it was like she disrupted the launch because she was like, it's biased. It's speaking of war in specific areas. You could tell, she could feel it. There's that cultural and racial bias of tools. So there's that part. And then, of course, digital rights. AI is seeping into content, politics, and culture. So at what point is enough? At what point is it too much? At what point is it not enough? So there's that part. And then, of course, startups and innovators, investors, and ecosystem builders. Right now, we're in a problem of investors who are running out of the country. I know guys may not want to talk about it, but it's true, it's happening. But this is also an opportunity now to invest. How do we then get ahead of the curve and get people investing in more than just the usual, just the agriculture, you know, the usual things that people invest in? How then do we open a new scope of investors who are actually interested in something that is important for them?
Absolutely. I think you've touched on quite a few areas that are still need a lot of work, to make AI viable,
feasible in the government and whatnot.
Yeah, and in mainstream, business and so on.
Yeah.
And I think those same opportunities were also highlighted in the recent Global AI Summit in Rwanda. I don't know if you
did. I followed up. I followed it.
Yeah, so I think the key things that are coming out is we need better infrastructure. We need to have the right guardrails, the legal guardrails. We need the talent. We need the money, and so on.
Yes.
So there's a lot of opportunity.
There's a lot, and I truly hope even the part about investorship. I hope we come in where Africans were investing in our own tools and our own technology and our own solutions. There's something I always say. I say African problems require African solutions. There's a reason why we've kept on having the same solutions, because we expect outside help to come in and solve African solutions. Meanwhile, can't relate. They would not get it the way we get it. So I do hope even as we're doing this, there's a key focus on Africa solving its own solution. So in as much as you want investors, they can be African investors. Because we get it. We know our needs. We say Africa is a village because we're all very similar. Yeah. So I hope we also concentrate on that, keeping that ecosystem within the African nations. I think that would be key. I really hope and pray that that happens at some point. Yeah.
Okay. Are you hopeful?
I am. I am. May not be with this government, but I am. I am hopeful. I do know there are African leaders who are pushing that Africa agenda, where Africa has the solutions to its problems. I think we're in a generation where everybody sees that. So I can only hope that along the way, we do not become so disheartened that when it comes time for us or whoever is interested in politics to get into those policy-making positions, they're already disheartened. They're like, let's just get the same Wazungus who solve this. No, I hope we don't become jaded. We cannot allow this short-term problem to dictate our long-term solution. So while we may be experiencing a governance issue, and not just Kenya, most countries in general go through governance issues, let it be a short-term issue. It should not dictate our long-term solutions. So we stay hopeful that at some point it becomes African problems are solved by Africans. Yeah.
Okay. And what would you say to someone, how do I do my part in that?
Policy, participate in policy. Whenever, like, for example, this document is released, no matter how lazy it looks when you go in depth, have your own opinion. Like, I was so bored about it. I sat on it for days. I was like, do I even care? Because you could tell until someone was like, it's written with AI. I was like, that makes sense. That makes sense. But I was like, you will find now marketers, we jumped on it a lot, especially us who are into AI. And we're hoping, and sadly, the government doesn't involve us. Tell me one person, in marketing AI circles who's been part of the policy making or was invited by the government to run that. Nothing. There's none. It's everything else. It's everyone else, whether it's an influencer or anything. It's not the actual guys who do the actual work, who care about how this affects them. So I can only hope that whenever these things like this are released, have a comment, have a say. Let the government see that we are going through it and that we are reading it and we have perceptions and we know the solutions to these things. That way, you can only hope that at least when 1 million, 2 million, 5 million, 10 million people say it, that a government somewhere, an MP somewhere will be like, okay, we need to put this into consideration. Let's call at least 10 people from every county to give us feedback on this. So do your part. Participate. I know it feels, there's a joke I have. I don't know if I'm allowed to make it here. It says, you not doing politics does not stop politics from doing you. So because we like I'm very... I'm an activist when it comes to politics and policies and things like this. But I feel like sometimes it can tire your soul. It does. Oh my God, it does. I would know. But I think it's important we keep speaking about it and having opinions. Because these opinions, you're coming to realize it's actually getting to them. So keep at it. Yeah.
Okay. So this discussion has been really, really interesting. I mean, we've talked about, AI from, what exactly it is for a business owner, for, a small business, for you running a marketing agency. We've talked about the opportunities, the barriers that exist. What are your parting shots to our listeners, if you, have one or two things that you really want them to take away from this discussion when we talk about AI, the game changer for businesses?
Try. I think I say try. Also, we need to be a bit more patient with guys who are not into the AI thing. I've come to learn there's a preconception that we have that everybody gets tech. Meanwhile, statistics are dictating the opposite. That while as we're like, oh gosh, just GPT on my phone, 2-3 things, I get everything. There are guys who even struggle with that, to even Google is like a thing for them. I think we need to have more patience in that because we are getting to a point where we don't want to be intolerable. We want to at least know that it's not common. It's not common. I don't expect everybody in my apartment block to know, and I should be patient enough. And then teach your kids. Teach your kids earlier so that they don't fall into the wrong path of this technology, this AI revolution. Teach them early so that they can start seeing the important uses of these AI tools for them. They'd rather even learn how to cheat homework as opposed to learning the dark part of AI. They'd rather know that it's so interesting and I can draw with it and I can paint with it and it can give me a free class on chess and all these fun things, as opposed to now them learning from their friends and they're just learning maybe some naughty things, maybe making a naughty image or something. So teach your kids early on this AI thing. Be more patient with guys who have not gotten it yet, and then ask. When you don't get it, ask. Come to my DMs. I can't tell you the number of people I talk to per day. If I used to charge, by the way, for consultations, I'd be banking. If I was charging everybody who comes and asks me a questions, no, I charge brands, yes, here and depending on where they are in their business journey. But I'll always throw in freebies a lot. Like you've noticed, my thing is education. So I have a lot of fun with it. So if you come to my socials and you're curious, shoot me a question. Within 3 days, your DMs will always be answered. So ask. And everybody who I know who is like me, who is in marketing and AI and tech, even Moses Kemibaro, Janet Machuk, all these guys that you guys know, ask them. They'll tell you. We're very free with this information because we learned it for free also.
Yeah,
Might as well.
exactly. You didn't know it, so
no,
you
we
learned
didn't. There was
it.
no GPT University. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
we just like, so teach it.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
And on that note, where can people find you to learn more?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm very active on my Twitter, on my Instagram, and on my LinkedIn, on my Instagram, and on my Twitter. My tags are Nyandia Gachago, ACIM. So you'll always find me there. Come ask me anything. None of them are like locked or, they're just open. So just come in and DM me or shoot me on the timeline. I have a bot that scours, so I'll always answer.
AI for life.
I know. I have a bot that sifts.
Yeah.
So I'm good. I'll always find it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow, this has been such an amazing conversation. Thank you so much for your time and for shedding light on this, ever evolving, area.
Thank you. This is bold. I have spoken about doing podcasts for so long, and as a brand, we've had this conversation with him for so long, for years. I think for 8 years. The fact that you're doing this, people normally think it's normal. It's not. It is very bold to allocate time and pay for a studio and come sit and get guests and send those requests, send questions, do posters. This is insanely bold, and it's a lot of hard work. So I really appreciate you for that. I see you and I appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.